Boom. Hey everybody. What I need you to do is go ahead and break this down for me. Tell me in the broadcast. Tell me in the comments below if this broadcast is clear. You know, I was putting my tie on earlier, and I noticed that usually these broadcasts don't go smoothly without a tie. It's always better with a tie. Because, you know, with a tie, you sort of give off formal vibes, if you know what I'm trying to say. Guys, let's jump on here real quick and see if we can sprinkle some SML TV dust on a couple of topics that I think are worthy of note. Joseph Chishimba watching us from Solihull, England. Bo Allen. Bo, so good to see you. Always good to see you. Do me a favor. It's a beautiful, what is today? Tuesday morning? I often say to you that sometimes I lose track of the days. And that is when you know that what you're doing doesn't feel like work, is when you lose track of the days. If all you do is sit and count the days, then you're not living. You're just existing. You need to get to a place where every day counts, where every day is an adventure, where every day has its little intricate, delicate nuances that you can walk away from and say, that was a great day. You need to get to that place. And I think, you know, honestly, I think if you don't get to that place, then you're just not living. Guys, let's get into this real quick. I love, whenever you see me fold my sleeves, just know that my sleeves are too short. So I try to compensate by folding them. That way they don't look short at all. All right, guys, let's break it down. Before I get into my dissertation, of course, please share this live and thank you for being with me. Yesterday I saw something on TMZ that just shook me. And the reason TMZ shakes me every time they break news that sort of destabilizes you is because TMZ were the very first ones I heard break the news that Michael Jackson had passed away. And I'll never forget that day. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth. My wife was in the bedroom and she gasped. And I said, "What is it, dear?" She said, because, you know, my wife knows that I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. My entire family, my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters, we grew up with the Jackson 5. And so my wife knew. And by default, my wife became a Michael Jackson fan. Anyway, that particular day, she gasped and I heard her do this. And I casually said, "Are you okay in there?" She said, "Honey, you're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" She said, "Michael Jackson just died at 50. I said, "Honey, not only is that ridiculous, but it's preposterous because he's just getting ready to do a comeback concert at the O2 Center in London. And this is going to be his big comeback, and this is going to be his final curtain call." So whoever's posting that or saying that is not telling the truth. She says, "No, honey, it's real. Michael's dead." And, you know, by this time I'm rinsing out my mouth, you know. I got Listerine in my mouth and I'm sort of discharging it in my sink. I grabbed a towel and I sort of wipe my face and I walk into the main bedroom and I said, "Honey, what are you talking about?" And I found her sitting on the bed and she looked up at me and she said, "I'm really sorry. Michael's gone." Right there, I said, "Honey, I'm going to put an end to this ridiculousness." I reached for my remote control And I pointed at the television set. In those days, we had a TV in our room. We don't do televisions in our room anymore because the television keeps us up at night, for goodness sake. Anyway, so I switch on the television, and I said to her, where are you reading that? She said, it's this thing called TMZ. I said, I ain't never heard no TMZ. Let's go to CNN, see what they say. So I switch on CNN, and boom, there it was. Michael Jackson, dead at 50. Horrible. This is my coffee. Come in. Namwinga. Who's that? Did you bring the coffee? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Is there any sugar in there? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. My morning coffee. And that was a sad day. So my point is that yesterday, TMZ posted that Malcolm, what's his name? Malcolm Jamal Warner. You know, the guy that played Theo Huxtable on the hit television show, The Cosby Show. The reason I loved The Cosby Show was I'll never forget the episode where Malcolm Jamal Warner, remember the Gordon Guttrell episode where his sister sewed a shirt that it was like a gold shirt with black pocket thingies? The Gordon Guttrell. That's one of my favorite episodes where Theo got that shirt. And well, TMZ yesterday announced that Malcolm Jamal Warner died in a case of accidental drowning. Now, he was on holiday with his family in Costa Rica. I know initially when you read that he drowned, you think, well, black people can't swim, because that's the general consensus. For some reason in America, they have this thing where black people, they think that black people can't swim, which doesn't make any sense to me because my entire family can swim. Okay. We were taught how to swim. The school that I went to, that was part of their whole spiel, is that you had to learn how to swim. So initially people thought that Malcolm drowned because he didn't know how to swim. Well, no, that's not true. He did know how to swim. He was on holiday with his family in Costa Rica. They were in the water, the ocean, whatever it is, which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't jump in an ocean if you paid me. Only because I'm allergic to sharks. That's the only reason I wouldn't do that. Anyway, there was a strong current that literally, he was in the water with his family, and there was a strong current that pulled him out to sea. And in that whole thing, he drowned, unfortunately. And I'm very, very sad to hear that. He was a fine actor, a fine human being, and it's a sad day today. Truly, truly is. Guys, let's talk about it. First of all, let me begin by saying David Kazadi, another sex tape has leaked, which clearly shows David Kazadi with a young girl strapped to, initially I thought it was a shower base or something. I thought they were in the shower. Well, they weren't. It's apparently it appears as though they are in a bedroom, and this young girl is strapped, tied to the cupboard, and David is standing right between the meeting of her thighs, where her diamond sort of does its thing, and David is just pummeling away. And let me tell you why I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed because David is a heterosexual male. I'm not disappointed about that. I'm not even disappointed that David is a young man full of testosterone. That doesn't disappoint me. I'm not even disappointed that David has an active sexual repertoire sort of life. That doesn't disappoint me. But boy, I tell you what disappoints me is that David would put a phone and a camera in front of him and press record. That disappoints me. He's my friend and I love him. You know, I just read, a few moments ago, somebody said, we're living in an age now where people support the wrong thing. Even when they know it's wrong, they support the wrong thing, not because it's how do they say it? They said people now support the wrong thing even when they know it's wrong, but just because it's someone they know and someone they like, they don't condemn it. That was irresponsible of David to do, to press record. And I keep telling you, kids, it doesn't matter how much you say you love someone. It doesn't matter how much you're enamored by them. Don't record private moments. Those are intimate. You know why they call those private parts? Take a wild guess. It's because they're private. You jokers. Goodness. Anyway, I'm disappointed. And my worry is that the legal system, especially now with this new framework, the new legal framework that we all have to contend with. And trust me, this touches everybody. Nobody is exempt. And I like what Her Honor, the Vice President, W.K. Nalumango, said the other day. She said that some laws appear dormant until an offense is committed. Some laws are there, you're just not aware that they're there. But you commit that particular offense, then you will understand that that law exists. In this new digital framework that's been created, all of us have a responsibility to be mindful, to be careful, to be wary, to be cautious. To be cautious. To literally walk on eggshells. Why? Because your freedom is at stake, mate, when you make wrong, foolish, selfish decisions that land you in trouble. Nobody's perfect, we know that. There are no perfect people, only perfect intentions. And so this is a cautionary tale, or at least it should serve as a cautionary tale to every red-blooded black Zambian, indeed, any Zambian, that whenever you come into that space where you feel the urge, you feel that animalistic instinct to do what you want to do, honey, don't turn on that camera. Don't press record. Keep it private, keep it private, keep it private. Otherwise, the whole world's going to know about it. And here's the thing, guys. I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. What's happening is that these are videos that are being shared between people that think they can trust each other. That's what this is. And guys, human nature being what it is, the moment you send someone a private something and say, don't share it with anybody. This is just between you and me. The moment you hear those words, just between you and me, honey, that's code, okay? C-O-D-E. That's code for as soon as you get it, share it with the entire planet and everything within the Milky Way. People are going to share that stuff. And I was a little befuddled yesterday when I heard the police consistently, the police was in overdrive. Members of the public understand that you are not supposed to share those things, and if you are caught sharing them, honey, the moment you say that to people were sharing that video at lightning speed. Okay, so it's a bit useless to tell. All right, just give me a moment. Power's gone. So I have to stand up and draw my curtains. Wem sevanya. Bazesko man sevanya. This is deliberate. That's a joke. That's a joke. Okay? I'm just joking. I shouldn't have said that. Because, you know, quite a side back. I suck with that. What you if you watch that and that. At it was Mufulo. Tem Mufulo name when Tuachila Sekafia. You don't laugh with the people. You don't laugh with them. All right. This is my little blank. I need a new chair. That's what I need. I need a different chair. All right. Are we still on? Tell me if we're still on. Tell me. Tell me. Right. All right, guys. That's all I'm going to say about the David case. And unfortunately, I feel that eventually the legal system is going to make an example out of this whole thing. And I think, guys, just be cautious. Don't record your sex tapes. I mean, don't record your sex acts. Keep it private. Okay. Robert Chabinga. First of all, let me right off the bat, at the very outset of this broadcast, let me just very clearly say that the audio that's been circulating that is everywhere, it's on social media, it's 100% authentic. There's nothing AI about that audio. Let's be clear. That was Robert Chabinga's attempt at going into overdrive in damage control, trying to control the damage, the hemorrhaging. Okay, you know what it means to hemorrhage? Heavy bleeding. Okay, that's Robert Chabinga trying to put a stop on the hemorrhaging. But no well-meaning Zambian is going to stand there and say that that's AI. That's not true. That was a real, authentic conversation between him and a woman whom I do not know who that person was or is. If you know who that person is, please tell me in the comments who you think that lady was. But my point stands, is that that was a real authentic conversation. And I think it's shameful that politicians do that. I think it's shameful that politicians, when they know they've made a mistake, oftentimes they don't own up to the mistake. They try and sugarcoat it. They try and sidestep it. They try and shirk. You know the word shirk? Shirk the responsibility, not shake, okay? Shirk the responsibility. They try to absolve, you know the word absolve? They try to remove themselves from the scandal and deflect attention from the real issue and say, well, it wasn't me, it was them. It wasn't me, it was AI. There's no such thing as that. That was an authentic conversation. So I want to, for a few moments, and I know Bo Allen has asked what conversation. I'm going to break down the conversation in under 5 minutes. This was basically the gist of the conversation. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you what I think this means, okay? Now, in order to understand this audio scandal, you must first of all understand who Robert Chabinga is. Now, disclaimer, full disclosure, Bob Chabinga is someone I've known for many, many years. More than 20 years I've known him. The life and times of Robert Chabinga, if they were to be, his story is nothing short of a miracle. Because if you took Bob Chabinga's life and put it on the big screen, it's an epic classic, mate. It really is. It is a story of rags to riches. A story of someone that people didn't pay attention to. And then all of a sudden, he has become a focal point of conversation in the political landscape of this country. It's the most amazing story. Bob Chabinga came from very humble beginnings. I mean, he had nothing. Now, I'm not saying that to say he's nothing. I'm giving you context. Because, you know, in Zambia, when you talk like that, someone's going to say, oh, no, you think you're something. No, I'm giving you context. Okay? I'm saying he came from rags to riches. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disparaging him. Okay? I'm not talking down to him. I'm not nyozaring him. No. I'm giving you a clear picture of who he was in terms of status and who he has become. Understand that. Okay? You frustrate me when you accuse me wrongly of things that are not even in my head. Okay? Just listen. So Bob came from humble beginnings, and his rise in the political ranks is nothing but pure serendipity. You know what serendipity is? Things that happen by chance. Okay, when you're in the right place at the right time. Robert Chabinga came into prominence because this Mao Sampa brought him into the conclave of the PF, and through a series of unforgettable events, Mao Sampa was ousted, and Robert Chabinga became the guy. He became the leader of the opposition. So I'm saying all of that to say this, that Bob came from very humble beginnings, and he didn't really rank high in terms of personal integrity. He didn't always rank high in that department, okay? And that's very important for you to note as we go farther down, as we go further down this conversation. But the one thing that he did have, to his credit, he has two things in his arsenal. You know what an arsenal is? Huh? He has two weapons in his bag of weapons. Number one, he is a powerful speaker. Bob Chabinga is a powerful speaker. If you put him in front of a crowd, especially Muchinga province, you know, he's a member of parliament he was a member of parliament for, is it Mufinga? Mufinga district. Mufinga district is one of the 8 districts within Muchinga province here in Zambia, the northern part of Zambia. If you put him in front of a crowd, and you unleash Bob Chabinga and say, speak to the people. Pariba, the chap is an orator. He's got a glib tongue. Aside from that, he's very street smart. I mean, he's a hustler. Very, very street smart. The third, actually, he's got 3 secret weapons in his arsenal. So number one, he's got a glib tongue, he's a powerful orator. Number 2, he's street smart. Number 3, he knows the power of connection. Muzinga Melu once said that your network is your net worth. Chabinga knows how to network. And he has risen in the ranks through networking. Now, let's go to the audio. It's important for you to understand his background, or at least in part, from the way I've described him to you, because I'm describing him to you from an experiential point of view. I have known him personally for more than 20 years. I knew what he was, and I know what he is today. So when I heard that audio, I knew exactly what was going on there. What was going on was, first of all, and you guys must understand that Don't read commentary about the audio. Listen to the audio yourself so that you can draw your own conclusions. Some of you haven't even heard the audio, but you're making broad statements. No, but now you audio. I will free the but what hasn't Wamad? Can't wish my teach you audio. Yeah, but have you listened to it? Wait, you're 17. In a day, they for 17 minutes of an audio because the audio is 17 minutes long. That's the duration of the audio. There are some of you, you're so lazy, you cannot take the time to sit and listen to the audio in its totality. You would rather listen to someone's commentary on the audio instead of you yourself sitting there, listening to it, gleaning, understanding the audio for what it is, what it's saying. Yeah, just listen to other people's commentary. I've listened to the audio, and I'm going to break down the meat of the audio. Number one, you must understand that Robert Chabinga was on the phone being recorded speaking to a woman, and they were talking about the issue of ECL's burial. One of the things that Robert Chabinga said, he said many things. I'm going to highlight three things. The first thing that Robert Chabinga said that is of note was that he claimed that the boss, he refers to the head of state as the boss in the audio. He claims that the boss had gone to sleep, he was tired, he had gone to sleep, and the boss called him several times, multiple times. He said, when I woke up, I found more than 13 missed calls from the boss. Now, understand this. Politicians love to embellish, especially seasoned politicians. Oh, they can weave yarn, boy. Politicians. When you sit down with a politician, especially in their vernacular, when they are relaying a story in the political lingo, my goodness, they embellish. Some things they say are half-truths. Some things they say are quarter-truths. Some things they say are outright untruths. They embellish a lot. So Bob Chabinga is on this audio and saying, no, I got 13 missed calls from the boss. Now, I will tell you this. Anybody in government will tell you this. Because I know when I say this, you're going to say to me, but well, how do you know? Honey, I'm 56 years old. I have lived through all the presidents from KK to the present. I have personally interacted with every single president from Bakaunda to the current. And I will tell you this. No president ever calls someone out of their conclave 13 times or any time. You know why? Because they've got a system. They've got people that do that for them. They have a system. The UPND, in this case, HH and his team, they have a way of doing things within their party. You will never... What time does the head of state have to call someone 13 times? Which head of state is that? Which head of state do you know of that has time to call someone out of their immediate conclave 13 times? And even if that were the case, okay, let's assume that were the case. Do you not know, do you not think that HH has people that do things for him as a head of state? There's a system within that party. There's a system within government that, in a way, a system that makes things happen a certain way. There's no way a head of state can be calling someone 13 times. It's not true. That is not true, number one. Number two, You must understand that had this information that Chabinga revealed in the audio, had this information come from a government representative like Cornelius Muitwa, had this information come from a government representative like Tabo Kawana, had this information come out from one of the president's aides, this would have been colossal news. I want to stop there for a moment. You need to allow that to marinate in your spirit. Let that sizzle in your soul. Allow that to bubble in your oblongata. If the information that Robert Chabinga shared with that woman, if that conversation was being conducted by Cornelius Muitwa, and you could hear that it was Cornelius talking, or it was Tabo Kawana, or it was a government aide close to the president, then it would have been catastrophic. But who is this information coming from? Robert Chabinga. Who is Robert Chabinga? He represents an opposition party. Which party? The PF. Robert Chabinga does not speak for the government. You must understand that. Robert Chabinga, Robert Chabinga may be a sympathizer of the UPND. How do you know that? Of course, we know that because sometimes Robert Chabinga has accompanied the UPND on several trips, traditional ceremonies. Robert Chabinga is on record as speaking at an event where the UPND are prominent, and Robert Chabinga is on record as, in a sense, supporting several initiatives of the UPND. But aside from that, he does not speak for government. He does not speak for any government wing in the UPND. He is, as far as we know, the leader of the opposition. He's not the leader of the UPND. He does not speak for the UPND. He does not represent the UPND in any way. Whether it's one way or another, he doesn't. So that conversation that we heard between him and that woman, that is Chabinga's Waterloo. That is his dealings. Those are his dealings. He does not represent the government. Now, let's look at the meat of the things that he said in the conversation. One of the things he brought out was that, and you can always tell a politician when they speak, because at one point during the audio, he said, me, when I went to South Africa, they wanted to put me on business class. But I said, no, let me reduce myself. It's not about me. Me, I'm just going to go there, whether it's business class or economy class, whichever. I found that hilarious. So no, let me reduce myself. I don't have to fly business class. So you must also understand that when Bob says he received 12 to 13 missed calls from the boss, that's what he says. That's what he claims. But is it true? And if it were true, how do you know it's true? What proof do you have that HH picked up his phone and called Robert Chabinga and there were 13 missed calls on his phone? How do you know that? As far as I'm concerned, that's embellishing. Perhaps someone from some office somewhere called Chabinga. Perhaps. But to claim that the head of state, because you see, these are power plays that politicians use. Most politicians that are, there used to be, what was his name? this young man he drives, the Honeybee guy, what's his name? Tell me his name in the comments. The guy from Honeybee, what's his name? What's his name? Tell me his name. Tell me in the comments. I'll read your comment. Tell me. Are you going to tell me the name of the guy? He drives nice cars, you know. He's always spiffy. He's, you know, I want Chomba. That's right, Chomba. That's right. Chomba used to do this a lot when Edgar Lungu was president. First time I met Chomba, he couldn't stop talking about how well he knew the president, and that, you know, he'd always take out pictures. You know, I was with the president yesterday. We were jogging. Here's the picture. A lot of politicians clout. It's called clouting. They love to do that. No, you know, the president phoned me. Really? Yes, he phoned me. There were 13 missed calls from the head of state. Really? Yes, you know, me and the president. Now, that is a power play. Anyone that tells you that they receive personal, persistent, unrelenting, consistent phone calls from the head of state, when they share that with you, of course, I'm not calling Chabinga a liar. What I'm saying is politicians do this. This is a gimmick. This is a thing that they do when they're with their colleagues and friends. Oh, you know, the president phoned me. It is a power play. It's them telling you they are highly connected. Be weary of anyone that constantly talks about how they know the president. Always be weary of them. I remember ECL used to complain about that. ECL used to complain that people are using my name, but they won't fish nayandi. Gatwaya kuria kuchiten kula na sanga fya walumendo bale irishanya bale tino uyu muntu imwe atumine. Dei pchati nina niuma yo ala ndira tumwalishi banangwe. People use the president's name to do all sorts of things, especially in this country, in Zambia, where people have to say, no, the president phoned me. No, phoned you where? Oh, I need to be phone. Wakateka. Huh? So, my point is, just because someone says HH phoned him 13 times, it doesn't mean it's true. But let me just close this window here. Forgive my office, it's a bit of a mess. Let me just close the window. Just give me a moment here, because I've got that reflection happening. Got the reflection thing going. Right, you. Please stick with me, guys. Don't leave the broadcast. Don't. Are we still on? Tell me we're still on. This is my little warm blanket, mate. Right. Are we good? So, be weary of anyone that claims. Anyone can say, no, the president called me 13 times. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the head of state, any head of state has such, no president has time like that. Takwa president who tumamuntu 13 times. Then what is that president doing? Presidents do that. If they do that, they have people who do that for them. So I think that was a power play by Chabinga to claim that the head of state phones him relentlessly 13 times. That one, I don't believe that one. I don't. Number two. Number three, Chabinga hints that when they go to South Africa, the judges have to eat. And this is where Chabinga shot himself in the foot. Because now when you start implying that you can buy judges, when you start hinting that you can oil the hands of judges, that is a very serious crime. Very serious indeed. And this is the reason Chabinga very quickly had to, and guys, I'm not trying to go against Chabinga. Chabinga is someone I know and I get along with him very well. But because this is a national issue, we just have to be truthful. Palwandi, I cannot support Chabinga on this one just because he's my friend. No, I can't. You and I can't do it. Let us just be truthful. Let us tell the truth as it is. Let us not sugarcoat anything. Those words Chabinga used when he said, no, the judge has to eat. That is a very serious crime. And the reason Chabinga knows that it's serious is he claimed that that audio was AI generated, artificial intelligence generated. That is not true. You don't even have to know Chabinga on a personal level to understand that that audio was from a human being. AI, ilomfuika. Anyone, we are at this stage, most of us are media smart. Unless you take that audio, you take it to kukwakasomo, muntwane, kwakasomo kuchinsali, wayatwala ilia audio. Waya ingira mulia kulia kudia benare nshina kudia mwaingira fe mulia munshi mulia muntwani mulia mwasanga bachite bali muibala eri waya balangati mfweni AI. First of all, kudia bala kuipishati AI nchinchi. So you cannot pull the wool over everybody's eyes. Okay? We are now living in a time where most Zambians, especially Zambians that have access to a smartphone, or as we call them, big phones, we are media smart. Media smart means you can tell whether something is computer generated or not. Pretty much you can tell. Especially when it comes to voice. An artificial intelligence voice, you don't fuika. You don't fuika fe wino bueno. You can tell this is AI. But aside from that, AI spoken in the way that Chabinga spoke it, because his diction, okay, his cadence, okay, this is now English. You know what cadence is? Cadence is the rhythmic way you speak. Okay? I've got a cadence, you have a cadence, you have a way of speaking. Chabinga's cadence is very apparent. It's self-evident. His diction, when he writes, is very apparent. You can tell when someone is writing. Fidia Bowman Lusambo, when Bowman was loose, when Bowman spoke, his speaking did not match his articles. Fiade remba fidia, ngale remba. Mlekusha Bowman ngalemba article. Ichi sungu wino. Proper diction. Diction means the way you write. Proper English. No bangale under vocally. A totorek. That tells you that Bowman was not the one who was used to write those articles. Why? Because his diction was different from his oration, the way he spoke. But Chabinga's cadence, the way he speaks, very clear. Very clear. Even the president, if you listen to HH when he's talking, you know his cadence. You know the way he speaks. If you hear an AI-generated audio using our president's voice, you can tell, yes, that's the president's voice, but that's AI. Why? Because of the cadence, the way that the audio is spoken. So in my view, the reason Chabinga very quickly relegated that audio to AI is because he knows the severity of the contents of that audio. He knows that it's extremely contentious, extremely dangerous to imply that you are going to bribe a judge for any reason. Very contentious indeed. So that is his Waterloo. How he's going to come out of that, I don't know. But that is his Waterloo. But keep in mind, Chabinga does not speak for the UPND. He may cooperate with them. Okay, that is self-evident. But he does not speak for them. And again, let me repeat. This audio would have been catastrophic had it been Cornelius Muitwa, had it been Tabo Kawana, had it been a high-ranking UPND official, had it been by Jack Mwimbo, had it been the Minister of Foreign Affairs, if that conversation that Chabinga had with that woman if that conversation was being spoken by any of these UPND officials, oh, wonder, the poo-poo would have hit the fan. It would have. But it wasn't that way. It's Chabinga, leader of the opposition. Chabinga speaks for himself and the PF faction that he leads. He does not represent the UPND. He doesn't represent the government. He certainly doesn't represent the president in any shape, form, or fashion. Understand that. When you understand it, then you are fine. And if you don't look at it in that way, you'll be misled. Those, my brothers and sisters, that is the correct analysis of this situation. Accept it. Because that's the way it is. It's true. All right. Thanks for watching.